Hi, welcome to Popken Moments. My name's Vivian. I'm an apprentice in media design. I'm in my first year of apprenticeship, and today I'm here with who?
Adrienne Foreman.
So, Adrienne, could you tell us, well, just briefly introduce yourself and tell us where you're originally from?
Well, my name is Adrienne Foreman, and I'm originally from Dublin in Ireland. That's why when I speak English, it's a little flat. And I've been living in Germany for many a year.
Tell us a bit more about who you brought.
Well, this is Anthony. He's my rescue dog from Spain. He had a very, very hard life before, but as you can see,
Little Diamond.
he's living the good life now.
He always wants to be pet.
Yes, yes.
We can see.
He loves to be the center of attraction.
So, Adrienne, how exactly did you come to Germany, and for how long have you been here now?
Well, it's a really strange story. I was on a bus in Ireland one evening and I heard people behind me speaking the German language. Didn't know quite what language it was at the time, and I asked them. I said to myself, I want to learn this language. And I believe if you want to learn a language, you're better off living in the country itself, because I didn't want to speak Denglish. I wanted to speak proper German. And that's when I decided I was going to go to Germany.
But how did your parents react to that? That you just randomly wanted to move?
Well, we're talking about a Holy Catholic household, and I'm the oldest daughter and I'm the only daughter. So obviously my mother was not happy with it, and I knew she wouldn't be. So I told her on the Wednesday night that I was leaving for Germany on the Saturday. And she said, oh, great, you go for a holiday. And I said, nope, I'm going to learn the language. So my original plan was to come to Germany for a year, and I'm over 30 years now here in Germany. Yeah.
So you just took all of your stuff and just went over here?
Well, I didn't have very much at that time, and I came to Germany, and it's my second home. That is true. That is no joke. I heard the language on the bus, and I thought, that's so cool. Everybody's like, you mad, French, Italian. I'm like, no, German. It's just so cool.
So aggressive.
I always say to my best friend, I came to Germany, if I talk to people, I came to Germany to learn the language. And she says, well, you still can't speak it, but she's my best friend, so she's allowed to do that.
So you're not teaching in a traditional classroom, well, not in a traditional classroom setting. And could you describe your role a little bit at the Popken Fashion Group?
Yes, well, I see my role as teaching the apprentice to feel comfortable using the English language, to improve the command of the English language, because I find English is very, very important nowadays, especially if you want to be a big international company. Your employees need to have a good command of the English language.
So you're mostly around apprentices or in general?
Well, apprentices at the Popken group, but I do have a group, the online marketing. So if a department feel they would like to brush up on their English, they can always get in contact with me.
So you're not only at Popken, do you have something else?
I do have another company. They're in Gandakazay.
Your sessions are very interactive and relaxed. Well, I know because I'm taking part of your classes. And why do you think speaking and small talk are so important when learning a language?
Well, obviously all aspects of the language are very important, but I find I work mostly on the small talk and the oral part of the language, because that's the part everybody's terrified of. People have a lot of anxiety because they're showing you a little bit of a deficiency, because this is something that they can't do perfectly. But as I said, they don't need to be able to speak 100% English, as long as they can get their information across. Like to say, I have experience, for example, when I came to Germany first, I used to get Hubschrauber and Staubsauber mixed up. And we had so much fun, because Entschuldigung, kann ich die Hubschrauber haben? Ich muss hier sauber machen. And everybody thought it was so funny, but it lightened the whole atmosphere. So enjoy it.
Sometimes it turns into a joke and then you'll feel comfortable immediately.
Yes.
That's also a good part,
exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I find due to the fact that we only speak English about this, that, about everything, they kind of begin to relax and they don't think about the mistakes they're going to make. And all of a sudden they start enjoying speaking English.
But I think speaking is also important, because when you're in an English-speaking environment and you can't speak, it's always hard to
Yes,
live
it
there.
is important. You know, it's obviously, but as I said, all parts, you need to be able to read it, you
Yeah.
need to be able to write it. But I definitely more or less focus on the oral part of the language because that's the part people are most frightened about.
So you've talked about your lessons here. What do you personally enjoy the most about your lessons with the apprentices?
I think it's just the fact of seeing them grow. You know, you see apprentices, they've just come from school or maybe university. And I loved to kind of see the way they develop from being these shy people who are terrified of speaking English into people that have such a good command of the language. I don't know if I can say little English monsters. It's my kind of my nickname for them because sometimes I sit back, I'm totally fascinated. You see people coming into the room and they're shaking, they're so nervous, and then they're finished their apprenticeships, and I can have a conversation, whether it's to do with politics, baking a cake, dogs, horses, whatever, and they do this in English. I had an experience the other day with one of the students. He actually gave us a tour of the warehouse in English. And I was in awe, his diction, his vocabulary. And I just said to myself, that's what I love to see. That's why I do this job.
Many people are afraid of making mistakes when speaking English. What would you say to encourage them?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just enjoy the ride. You know, as long as you get your message across, you're doing fine. And the less you think of your mistake, the less you will make them.
Yeah.
Even though maybe they might be a native speaker, they're not going to hear your mistakes.
Yeah.
They're going to hear, oh, the delivery will be expected at 3 this afternoon. They won't hear the grammar mistakes. So your vocabulary is very, very important. Always remember, especially if we're talking about German people, English is not your native tongue.
Yeah.
You are entitled to make mistakes. I can absolutely understand it because when I live here in Germany and I have to speak German, so I obviously make mistakes too. And I always say, as long as you get your message across, that's what it's all about. And just go with the flow and enjoy it.
I also think the thing is you're not a robot, so it's okay
Yeah.
if you make mistakes because
Exactly.
that's human-like.
Exactly.
As someone who experienced this, because I have English lessons with you, I think it's funny how you become so aware that speaking English is not a problem. So at first I was very shy too, but it's funny that now when we have the lesson, we just talk and chat randomly. Well, we do have our topics we talk about,
Yep. Yep.
which are also important because we read. But I think it's just so funny how we drift into different topics so randomly without
Yes.
any connection
It's
to the text
sort of
we just
second
read.
nature, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, yeah.
But I think that's also kind of refreshing because at first I was a bit scared because I was like, oh no, how is she going to be? But now that it's just completely normal and that I've grown comfortable
Yeah.
around you, it's just everything's just all right, and I'm ready to speak open-minded.
Yes. Well, what I find as well is when I come into the company, nobody greets me in German. It's always English. It's so weird. You know, even people I have never dealt with, but maybe just know them to see, they say, good morning. It's always English. I've actually heard that some people think I can't speak German.
But the funny part is, when we see you speaking German, it just feels so
weird.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because we're just used to talking English and it just feels uncomfortable to talk German.
Yes.
Do you have a sneak peek of your German to prove that you can speak German?
Guten Tag, ich heiße Adrienne, ich komme aus Dublin und ich weiß, ich sollte eigentlich mein Deutsch üben und nicht Englisch unterrichten. How was that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
No worries. And I hope you'll be tuning in next time.